Running records is one form of informal assessment. It is something that a teacher can use in order to drive their instruction. It's very easy. It can be done with any book on any piece of paper, and usually you're doing it with young readers, so you often use the little gradient leveled books. Today I'm going to show you how to do the conventions and then how to analyze the child's error. Most often a child will be reading a word correctly, and when they do so, you just merely put a check mark for every word they read correctly. And in order to make it easier for you to analyze at the end, the best thing to do is to do a check mark by line, and then indicate a end of a page such as this. For instance, if the little book said, "My mother said, come home," in the page, you just make a check mark for every word they read correctly and then the end of the line. Sometimes a child will substitute or mispronounce a word. For instance, if the little picture looks like a frog, the child might say the word frog, but in fact the text said toad. So what you will do is you always put what the child said on top and what the text said on the bottom. And of course this would be considered one error. Sometimes a child will insert a word that's not even in the text. Often they're little adverbs such as very and really, and when they do that, you will put the word that they said on top, draw the line, and then just a dash because there is no word in that text. Sometimes they will omit a word. You mark that just opposite of an insertion. Because they didn't say the word, you put the dash on top and you put the word on the bottom. And again, that would be one error. Often a child will self-correct. Of course, that's what we really want our students to do. And when they self-correct, what you will do is you will just put, like, let's say they said want, but the text said went, and they realized once they said want, it was incorrect, so what they'll do is they'll put an SC, such as that. Oftentimes when a child comes to a word that they don't know, they'll just repeat words that the text has come up to that word that they don't know. For instance, if it says, "I want a," and then it's monkey, and they don't know how to say monkey, so they'll do, "I want a," so you put an R, and if they repeat it the second time, you put the little 2, such as that. Repeats, by the way, are not an error. Sometimes a child comes across the word and they don't know the word, so the first thing they do is they'll say, "What is that word?" And what you want to do is, of course, you encourage them to sound out the word if they can, but what you will do is you'll just put a big A over the word that they appealed, because you want to kind of remember what word it was that they really didn't recognize on sight. And maybe hurricane would be such a word for a first grader. Sometimes you know that the word is something that they do not know how to pronounce, and so what you will do is you will actually give them the word. For instance, if the text had the word Europe, and you know that the child has not seen that word before and maybe has never been to Europe, so what you will do is you'll just tell them, because they're actually reading at a nice speed, they're understanding, you can tell, and so what you're going to do is you're just going to teacher told, because you want that memento to still continue. Sometimes a child gets so confused they'll skip a line or they'll get their words all mixed up, and you just stop them and you say, "Try that again," and you indicate that by putting TTA, try that again, and put brackets around it. And that's considered to be one error, even though it may consist of 12 words. We teach our students how to sound out words, and sometimes when they come across a word that is exactly what they do. For instance, if the word is house, the child might go ha, house. And so what you will do is you mark it such as that, and then what you do is if they don't self-correct, I consider that to be an error. Now, if they, for some reason, do self-correct, if they go house and then say house, I consider that to be a self-correction. Now we're going to analyze the text. And with analyzing, you're going to be looking for the three cueing systems: semantic, syntax, and graphophonics. Just to review with you, semantics is the meaning structure. So if the meaning of the word is the same, for instance, when they said frog instead of toad, the air will have the same meaning, but it's of course not the correct word. Syntax, the sentence structure is the same, but the air will sound correct. For instance, if they say something like the house, but it really was the horse, something like that, but it's a noun for a noun. And then the graphophonics is when the word will look and resemble the same. So it might be want over went. Mari Clay uses the three letters M, S, and V. Meaning for the syntax, the S for the structure, and then the V for the graphophonics. And I'll just show you how to analyze this quickly. One sunny, let's say the child read that correctly. Of course, that's no errors. Saturday morning, instead of saying Saturday, they said Sunday. And just for our purposes here, I'll put Sunday over Saturday. And then they said morning correctly. That's considered to be one error. And you put over here MSV, and you realize that Sunday, Saturday, the meaning is a little bit different, but it's still a day of the week, and the sentence structure is definitely there. They did not use visual, of course, because the word is not correct. Juan decided to ride his bike. When they come to Juan, they have never seen that word before, so they might say Ju-an. When they do that, and they don't self-correct, that would be considered one error. For the M, the S, and the V, I would consider that to be visual because they're sounding it out, which is a good thing. From this, I think you'll have a little better idea of how to do the conventions and how to analyze. And I think you'll find that the running records are a wonderful way for you to decide what the child does when they read.